It is Friday, November 21st, and Mamdani arriving to the White House, meeting President Trump in the Oval Office. We have the latest, we have clips, the highlights from what happened. Also, 6 Dem lawmakers could be facing seditious conspiracy charges, according to the active U.S. Deputy AG, saying all 6 of these lawmakers should be required to answer for what they did. And how fast all 6 of them reversing course, out doing damage control this morning, and more stories as well from around the country, including what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan. Did you see this? If you didn't, you'll want to.
Protesters.
Jack?
Mr. President, I wanted to know, one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform, because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the President and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
To be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
that's what you said.
No, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
So New York City's mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, or Mamdani as Trump calls him, arriving to the White House this afternoon, meeting with the president, doing so after learning how he must reverse course. That's what he's been told, that he could be about to manage the quickest, most devastating spiral in New York City history if he doesn't. In fact, watch just how quickly Zohran's fallen in line. Watch this.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers.
Oh, how things change. We all saw the promises he made: free buses, free childcare, rent-stabilized housing, freezing the rents at 2 million rent-stabilized housing units, city-built housing, even city-run grocery stores. All sounds wonderful to a lot of people. All of it, he said, will be paid for by raising your taxes, something New York's governor said yesterday or on Wednesday it's not going to happen. She's not doing it. Zohran learning he doesn't have the money to do these things, and if he doesn't reverse course quickly, he was advised, and kiss the president's arse, he could stand to lose tens of billions more in federal funding should Trump choose to freeze it. So what happens? He calls up the White House this week begging for a meeting with the president. Trump, of course, willing to meet with anyone, accepting, and here's what just happened.
But who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
Mr. Mamdani, I came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
And I wanted to ask you also. also about this Ukraine plan.
Yeah.
President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that
6 Democrat lawmakers could be facing seditious conspiracy charges after urging the U.S. Armed Forces and the intel community to commit insubordination by disobeying orders from the president. Any orders you deem illegal or immoral, they said, you're not required to obey. Really? Is that so? Who says these orders are illegal or immoral? Is that how our system works? I don't think so. Here's the video that kicked all of this off. Roll the tape.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche saying all 6 of these lawmakers should be investigated for sedition. They should be required to answer questions about why they did what they did, he said. That's a close quote. Going on to make a good case for this investigation that there's, he says, more than likely more to this than just some random viral social media video that they just chose to throw together. What was the intent here? What was the reasoning for releasing this video now? These are members of Congress. They know what's allowed and what's not allowed. What they said is specifically illegal. You can't do that, demanding the U.S. military defy court orders without giving any suggestion of what law or what order they're being asked to violate. Was this in preparation for something? Do these Democrats know something we don't? Were they briefed on something? All of this sounds a lot like what we were hearing in the days and weeks before January 6th. Is this in preparation for another entrapment plot? Watch Todd Blanche making the case. Todd Blanche, by the way, the current deputy AG. Watch.
Well, the investigation would absolutely be under what their intent was in saying this. And the question, we've all watched this a lot today, and the question you have to ask yourself is, what is their intent? What is the reason that they all went on a video and encouraged young men and women to defy court orders without even giving a hint of what's illegal, without even giving any suggestion of what law or what order they're being asked to violate? You cannot do that in this country, especially if you're a leader. And so what does the investigation look like? I think they should be held to account. I think that those congressmen should be required to answer questions and to answer questions about why they did what they did. And the American people deserve that, and so does President Trump.
President Trump agreeing with this. In fact, Trump going even further, much further, calling these Democrats traitors to the country and that they're in serious trouble. In the old days, Trump says the punishment for this behavior would be punishable by death. Watch what he said.
Seditious behavior from traitors, and you wanted to say punishable by death. So people thought that you were saying death to those politicians. What were you saying?
Well, if you look at sedition, if you look at, that type of, that's a very strong form of being a traitor. It's a terrible thing to say. I must tell you, I heard it, and I thought it was some kind of a comedy situation. I thought that it was some kind of a skit, and because I couldn't believe that they'd say it. And I watched Democrat congressmen and one Democrat senator yesterday on one of the shows didn't even want to discuss it. They said, whoa, don't get me into that one. They didn't want to get into it. That is a really serious charge. I'll tell you what they said is, and it was, I mean, I don't know about the modern day things because, modern day is a lot softer. But in the old days, if you said a thing like that, that was punishable by death.
Now, since Trump said that, you can imagine what it's been like a bomb went off. The media, Democrats going crazy over this commentary, flipping this whole thing around, blaming Trump now for inciting violence. Do you see how they do this? Somehow they flip the whole thing around. Mark Kelly even saying Trump's putting his life and his wife's life in danger.
For being here. What does it say when the White House press secretary has to deny that the president wants Democratic members of Congress executed?
Well, Kate, it says we are in uncharted waters. I mean, I never expected, after serving 25 years in the Navy, flying combat missions over Iraq and Kuwait, flying the space shuttle, that now I've got to worry about my personal safety and that of my wife, Gabby Giffords, who was already nearly assassinated because of something the president said.
Could that be the point of all this? Are Dems smart enough to game this all out? They released that video montage knowing Trump would react like this, and then they have a 48, 72-hour news cycle of Trump bashing? Look how irresponsible the president is. Look what he's saying, calling us traitors. I don't know. Let me know what you think. In another story, Dearborn, Michigan, the once beacon of American industrialization, of Henry Ford's beginnings building the famous Model T back in the 20s, now being transformed into the epicenter of Muslim America. The city now encompassing an Arab majority population. Its police force transformed from 3% Arab representation to a whopping 45% today. The city hall is changing street names to honor Osama Sablani. Sablani was the publisher of the Arab American News in Dearborn. He was pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, if you look at what he's written. Watch what happened when this American Dearborn citizen raised questions over this renaming honoring Sablani. Watch what the mayor of Dearborn told this concerned citizen.
Bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city.
Scary stuff. Last month, right before Halloween, the FBI disrupting a terror plot in Dearborn. The feds foiling this plot to deliver material support to ISIS.
The FBI stopped a potential terrorist attack in Michigan, according to Director Kash Patel. The FBI has arrested 5 young people who were allegedly planning a violent attack over Halloween weekend. Arrests were made this morning in the cities of Dearborn and Inkster, just outside of Detroit. Officials say the group has a connection to ISIS extremism, and law enforcement officials are telling NBC News the suspects had access to guns.
All of this hitting the fan yesterday when Jake Lang led a protest to counter what he calls the Muslimfication of Dearborn. Jake Lang, he was part of the J6 protest. He was jailed by the Biden administration for that. Well, yesterday, for simply walking down the street in Dearborn, he was assaulted over and over again on video multiple times right in front of police even. This one kid punches him in the face. This is too good. The kid's clearly going to jail. They're going to find this kid. Yet assimilation's really working in Dearborn, folks. Unbelievable. Jake Lang going into the city hall with the same mayor you saw a minute ago telling that concerned American to leave the city. Watch what Jake Lang had to say to them.
The Muslim community is looking to drag us back. They're looking to oppress women, oppress homosexuals. They're looking to destroy everything that makes America great. President Trump, send ICE into Dearborn. These people have overstayed their visas.
Pretty wild. And look, I think what we're seeing here is the same thing we're seeing in Dallas, Texas, when a huge majority of a city has Arab immigrants. Just like any other type of culture, they try to bring that culture here to their new city. In Dallas, they're even setting up Sharia courts to carry out Sharia law in Dallas, Texas, folks. I thought There's only one rule of law in this country. Texas Governor Greg Abbott confirming this week these Sharia courts do exist. There's multiple of them, and he's shutting them down. Watch.
I did tell the public, as well as local law enforcement, that there actually are Sharia courts that are operating in Dallas, and they are trying to impose Sharia law. And I pointed out to local prosecutors, both in Dallas County as well as in Collin County, as well as to the Attorney General, as well as to the Texas Department of Public Safety, that what they are doing with these Sharia courts that we have identified in the letter that I issued today, they are in violation of Texas law, including violation of Texas penal codes. And so what they're doing in part could be considered a crime, but also clearly a violation of the Texas Constitution.
This is what happens when you have unchecked migration, right? Massive unchecked migration. The problem in Michigan, though, in Dearborn specifically, the mayor's on board with all this. The governor also is Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat, a woke Democrat. So yeah, I think, unfortunately, it's just going to get worse in Dearborn, and eventually Americans will get sick of it. Let me know what you think. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.